The year is 2024 or maybe 2025, and you have about $30,000 to $35,000 to burn on a performance car. Which one are you going to choose?
Is it this 2024 Subaru BRZ TS, which, yes, means tuned by STI?
Or that 2002 Pontiac Firebird Firehawk, which was tuned by the legends at SLP?
Tires are. Rev it up to a 4, and yeah, we're slipping.
So fast.
6.61. I think you're gonna beat me on that one.
It's not bad, not for the power number. It's light, it's small, it's nimble, it's got the right tires. It's a little damp outside, so you probably chop a quarter second off of that.
228 horsepower, 184 pound-feet of torque. This needs a turbo.
Even a little one.
But, as you pointed out off camera, biggest selling point is no turbo lag.
Hey, no turbo lag, right?
I mean, you just go. Okay, exterior styling on these, there's a lot similar across the board on both of these, but front engine, rear-wheel drive, 2+2 interior, which kind of translates to its overall shape. Both are very unique in the market when they were made, but I don't know. I would not love cars if it weren't for this platform, so it's hard for me to say that this is the clear winner here. There are definitely some positives about the exterior styling.
Yeah, so as far as a modern car, this has the modern car, sports car look.
I mean,
I like it.
Modern lights, that's a win.
Which those will be getting soon. Don't pretend like you can't do it.
Well, yeah.
Those are getting LED converted.
But
as far as off the shelf, buy it, OEM are pretty dang close to it.
Adaptive headlights.
I'm not getting adaptive headlights. They don't make them. No such thing.
But pop up and down headlights.
But if you want to talk about an actual legend, as far as the way it looks,
pop up and down headlights.
Quit playing. It's not even a joke. It's not even a competition. This body Firebird literally is what a lot of people consider to be the best looking American vehicle ever. Some people prefer the Firehawk. Most prefer the Trans Am WS6 double snorkel, big fat wang out in the back. Nonetheless,
big fat what?
It is a legendary look, and in my opinion, it looks better. It is longer, which gives it a lower look, even though I don't actually think it's any lower. Functional snorkels, functional heat extractors.
This has got a lot of cool aero going down the side and very intentional.
We need more duckbill.
Yeah, very intentional.
If STI is going to touch it, give us more aero. Yep. And the aero on this, although it's minimal, we have had one of these at speed.
Yeah.
It does pull you to the ground.
Yeah.
The body itself is the downforce. It's very cool. You could also say the same about that. So let's talk inside.
All right. First off, talking about modern amenities.
Beeping? All the beeping?
Proximity keys.
Okay.
I don't have to take the keys out.
All right.
Yeah, so let's see. Your keys, you actually have keys. I have a key fob.
Not only do I have keys, I have a whole nother key for the T-top. You remember that?
Yeah.
Trunk key.
And then I can pull a little chode of a key out. But yes, you don't have to worry about keys in this.
Yep. Door opening is smaller.
Yes. Lower roof line, I feel like. I'm very conscious.
Or maybe you sit higher
getting
off
in
the
and
ground.
out of this one. Modern interior, which I know we talk a lot about while we're driving, but the big winning factor here is the infotainment. Much larger screen than your aftermarket Kenwood.
And it's got a modern integration. You can talk through it. You can CarPlay to it.
Yep.
It's wired. Corey has a solution to make it wireless. We'll drop a link for that in the description. So you can turn wired into wireless. I personally prefer wired because I like that it's trickle charge in the vehicle, the phone. The whole idea is I'm not using it anyway, so let me go ahead and plug it up. That's neither here nor there. You win on infotainment because that thing, the only entertainment is under the hood on this one.
But I will say, easier to get in and out of.
Yep. Partially because of the seats.
Cooler T-tops. No T-tops on this one.
Yeah.
And I think better visibility in that one.
Well, I mean, who cares about crash tests? This was the beginning of the regulations. Matter of fact, for 03, these died because no more pop-up headlights. They couldn't have the nose that low, blah, blah, blah. The seats are more of like a GT, a touring style seat. Yeah. And I think that's just because GM was lazy with interior styling all the way up until, what year is it?
Yeah.
But they're more comfortable to get in and out of, less bolstering, but they're not sloppy while you're driving it. So I think that's sort of a tie. It's more of a personal preference. How does your seat fold down? I have a little fold down action right here.
So for me, it's a grab handle on the back of the seat, but interestingly enough,
very similar.
The driver's seat only folds forward. You have to reach down and slide it, whereas that is a one-stop mechanism all the way over.
This has no slide functionality on either unless you reach down and grab it. So second row is not for adults in either of these cars.
No.
Or Mustang or Camaro or any of these. It's just not what they're for. They're there to check a box.
If I had no head, I could ride back here, but
like a door.
It's kind of important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
6-speed transmissions in these are they both drive different, but they're both good. So I think that kind of plays into the interior. Just looking on the inside of a car and you see a 6-speed, that's a point in my book as far as interior styling.
Instant win. But I would say exterior, that one. Interior, maybe by hair.
I think by a hair just for everyday livability. Like when you're driving the car hard, none of that stuff matters. The seating position and stuff matters. It's comfortable to sit in once you get through hitting your bag on the bolster and getting in. And you have a real infotainment. You win on that. I will concede. Small win, but it's still a win for the BRZ. So now let's talk about the most important, no, not really on a road car, but the easiest to measure metric of performance, 0 to 60.
All right, one more try.
It's dry here, Corey.
And then we'll swap and see what you can do.
All right, let's get it.
I hit the red line on that one. Still better 0 to 30, 6.51.
6.5.
So, good, not great.
Will it drift? Will it slide?
It will, but you don't want me behind the wheel.
I'll test it. Last 0 to 60 run, dry, everything's warm.
Oh, that was better. That was better. 7.17? How would you do worse?
It's not me, it's the car. Third gear, it's like you go up to 58, 59 in second, and then it's, and then you waste another, which again, they didn't build the car for 0 to 60 runs. They knew that going into it.
All right, Eric, we're in an adult's car now.
Yes, an adult's car.
Your adult car.
Yep.
With adult money that you were able to buy.
2002 Pontiac Firebird Firehawk. Mostly stock. It might have a few extra horsepower from the couple of things I did to it, but real world is going to perform almost identically in a 0 to 60 to a completely stock LS1 T56 98 through 2002 Firebird or Trans Am. If you care, the rear gear is a 343, I believe, limited slip rear diff. That's the only real variable because a lot of people change diffs pretty frequently. Other than that, it's going to run the same, and it's all the diff is stock engine, stock trans.
All that aside, hopping in this directly after a $37,000 brand new vehicle.
Yeah,
this
puts
one
a smile on your face, doesn't it?
23 years old. There are a lot of similarities, but there are a hell of a lot more differences between this and that.
One is price.
Yes.
I paid $33 out the door.
Other differences that I'm feeling, of course, big V8 in front of us.
Yeah.
But very different 6-speed transmission, much longer throws in this. Not the same by any means.
No.
Feels very different. The ride is a little bit different. The steering wheel feels massive in this compared to the steering wheel in that tiny little BRZ.
We also have more room in here, more space.
It's impressive. Now, unlike the BRZ, which was not tuned for 0 to 60 and was tuned more for curvy roads, this is kind of the opposite of that. This was more tuned for 0 to 60 and less for curvy roads. Yeah. Though they did not shy away from curvy roads back then, but
they did add on items and switching some stuff out to make it handle much better. but the core of this is the F body, which goes way on back.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Hellcat riding on a 80s E-Class chassis, which is the truth. I don't care what anyone says. So this is the older chassis that they way updated to get it to act right on the public roadway.
I have long been a fan of this platform. This platform is why I love cars. Yeah. Hands down, this platform. This generation, in fact. And the #1 complaint was the long windshield and the big dash, which the first time you let me drive this was not so much a problem, but on this highly glary sunny day, I'm getting a lot of
sun glare, tons of sun glare.
I'm staring through reflections on the windshield.
Yeah, like reflects off the glass and then it hits the dash and then it reflects back into the glass. And so you got 3 ghost images trying to fight for your attention over the actual road.
And I'm worried about oncoming traffic, people, and deer out here.
Crazy.
You never know. So driving this in shade is much better. You are going to get to drive it in the reverse direction, so you'll have a much better go at it than me.
And I almost daily the car, so I'm much more familiar with it.
And then the steering wheel feels so thin compared to modern steering wheels. I mean, the last Equinox I was in, freaking Equinox, had a chonky, very sporty feeling steering wheel, but this thing, my goodness, ain't much here.
All right, one more 0 to 60 run. Traction control is on, but it's not aggressive. It really doesn't like to take
this
the power.
Also is not my car, and I've got the owner sitting right next to me playing in my head, but we're gonna see what we can do here.
All right. There you go. Already, 594.
Sub 6, that's a win for me.
6.
And when this thing was new, 5.5 by professional drivers, 5.2.
On a prepared course,
5.2, something like that, like low 5s. I consider that a win for me on a cold day. Let's see
all right, traction control off.
Owner behind the wheel.
AC off. We're gonna.
.562. Your first run is way better than my last run, and I have no bad feelings about that.
Hey, I'm within 0.12 of a pro driver on a prep course on a
in a brand new car,
wet morning.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a win right there.
Yeah, all of that in a vehicle that far cheaper than that BRZ was.
Yeah, and this is again the last Firehawk they ever made. It's equipped in a very special configuration. There's only 30 of this configuration, period. This is the only one ever owned by someone that I know of internally that got cut loose. It's the last known one to ever be produced, and it's signed under the hood, and I still got it for like 30,000 and some change before tax, title, license. You can get one that is less special, but equipped the same and save $5 grand. And now we're talking a $25,000 car. Or, I mean, you can get one that says 43,000 miles. Get one that's equipped the same with a little bit higher mileage, but I mean, it's a T56 and an LS1. All right, another 0 to 60 run.
No wheel slippage there. Best 0 to 30. 542.
Woo! I'm a pro driver, mama.
542 from our race box
Look at that
GPS.
rear spoiler in the back. Look at just throwing the. I mean, I'm getting some splitters for this. This is getting track prepped.
Yeah.
This is going on the track. I don't care how special it is. This bird's gonna fly.
Yeah.
I would argue that's kind of on the lower end of the real world importance. It's more about the dynamics, but we can reliably and verifiably prove 0 to 60 with
our Racebox GPS race timer that not only measures 0 to 60 in quarter-mile lap times, but actual lap times on a racetrack. If you want to get one for yourself and save 15% in the process, link is down below.
Link's down below for that. It actually works really well. Like you stop and it's like, I'm ready for a 0 to 60, and then you run it. And what was on today, this is apples to apples, what was your best 0 to 60 out of this car today because you had the best number?
The best I could get out of all my runs, off camera, 629 in this.
629 is your best of the best run ever in this car. Today, your best run which is less than ideal because it's a little damp. Is a 6.5?
Yeah, I got right at 6.5
Okay.
in yours, knowing that it is a 23-year-old car, not owned by me, not owned by the brand, but the owner was sitting right next to me. You ran these and got significantly different numbers
I got
on
way
both.
worse results on that.
Yes.
I couldn't get the back end to stick. I couldn't find my gearing. I'm starting to develop muscle memory with this car just because I do drive it a pretty good amount. So Corey got the better time. 6.29 is his all-time best in this so far. Traction control off. Warm bicycle tires, 215 widths in the rear. This one, before we did wheels and tires, what were we getting? Like a 5.7?
Yeah.
On best ideal conditions, warm, sunny. We got a 5.4 in this on a damp day now that I've swapped over to the Continental Sport 02s in a 295 rear. And I think it's got a little bit more to give in first gear. Yeah. So I think I could honestly get it down to like a 5.4 even or a 5.39, but it's already pretty fun. So I think I'm going to leave it.
All right. And
so I went 0 to 60. And then from 60 to oblivion, I continue to run away. There's no question. It's not geared for straight line speed.
Not
BRZ.
only talking numbers there, the experience in both. Lawnmower sound coming from a tiny 4-cylinder that is not a true performance motor to a true performance.
It sounds
they LS swap everything.
Yep. And this is the LS1, which I think is the only LS that's actually sequentially ordered because they go LS1 to 6 to 2 to 3 to 9. It's just all over the place. But this is the first LS. This replaced the LT, which is a good motor. Yeah. Fixed the OptiSpark and it's great. But this sounds like, it doesn't even sound like a performance 4-cylinder at all. It sounds like a real noisy valve trainy Econobox motor that they're just trying to just get some more juice out of that thing. And I really hate that because I don't think an induction and exhaust kit would make it sound better, make it sound louder, but I think you're gonna get into like straight pipe VQ territory where it's like it's loud, but it sounds like crap. So yeah, it doesn't sound good. This sounds great. I've done nothing to that but the rear muffler delete, and it's only droney for like 500 of the RPM band, which you're not in hardly ever. It's loud, but it's not obnoxious, and it sounds so good.
If you're spending $35,000-ish on a performance vehicle, you're gonna pull it up to Cars and Coffee. Which of these two vehicles has the X factor, that Cars and Coffee factor? Because they are both, for their model year, a special edition of the vehicle. Oh, show off.
Oh, I have signatures. What's...
Yeah, let's see.
Who signed yours?
Toyota and Subaru.
Toyota and Subaru.
Even though this is a Subaru design developed engine, because it's a co-developed platform, the Toyota-ru actually has a Toyota badge there on the engine.
So clearly, unless you're clinically insane, the Firebird wins the X Factor, without question.
Without question.
That being said, we do have strut tower braces now. They're cross braces instead of being straight across. I don't know how functional the two differences are, but from the factory, you do have some strut tower bracing, and it's not just a big piece of plastic covering the whole thing. You can see your intake plenum and your intake runners. You can see your throttle body. You can see your air box. You can see all that, and it's designed well. It doesn't look like over plasticky, and it also doesn't look underdone. They wanted this to look nice, and it's obvious. Yeah. However, over here, functional ram air, it does suck nose off the nostrils, goes straight in there, goes straight into the intake plenum on this one, because it is the Firehawk, and more importantly, it's end of run Firehawk. All this, though this is a LS1 block, it does have LS1 heads. It has a LS6 intake, which by itself nets you about 20 horsepower with nothing else done. Thick boy strut tower brace. And it's clean, it's well maintained, and it's got signatures from the guys in SLP that actually did the final build of this car back in November of 02 is when it was done and sent off.
All right.
This wins X Factor.
So we have $35,000 to spend.
Yeah, which, that's actually 37. And this is actually
much less. But you
this
could
is
option,
actually like 30 and a half for this one.
You can option the platform.
Yeah, you could trim that down, which I would advise. I wouldn't get the TS. I think it's overpriced. And honestly, unless you're crazy like me and you want the cleanest example possible, you could chop $5,000 off a purchase price and get one that's less limited than this, but still have all the same equipment essentially. And now we've now dropped price brackets on both cars and kept 98% of the real world performance on both.
These are two examples, 22 years apart, of affordable rear drive manual transmission, daily drivable sports cars from manufacturers.
Yeah.
And I'd say we've taken 20 steps back every single year because...
Of course, keep in mind, Subaru doesn't make a V8. They never have.
Yeah.
I suspect they never will. I would be genuinely shocked. Like, I mean, this would be like alternate timeline Subaru if they do a V8 versus Chevy is the small block company. From the 60s and even 50s to today, that's what they do. Whether it's carbureted, LS, LT, regular 350, that's what they do. And daily drivability, real world livability, that wins on infotainment. Yeah. But good God Almighty, does it sound horrible? And I don't just mean the exhaust. I mean it sounds like you're in a cigar tube. It's like you're on the runway on Spirit Airlines on like a 12-seater. It's horrible. It's horrible. A little bit of exhaust, I think a little bit of exhaust tuning, wider tires, because that will lower the hertz range in which you're getting your resonance. As far as being able to mass produce and add a little bit across 10,000 cars, they could have kept the price point the same and made it quieter. I'm not even talking about acoustic glass. Just put something in there besides hollow panels.
It's rough.
Just putting the camera in the car was like, oh my gosh, it sounds like you put on some sensory deprivation echo chamber earmuffs. It's terrible. Yeah. It's honestly terrible.
And on that
and then
note,
you rev it and it don't get any better.
On that note, which one you putting your money on? Oh wait, you already did.
I'd buy this again.